So I did something the other day that made my daughter cry. And I actually realized I've been doing this almost every day of her life. Now, it's not as bad as you think. So my daughter is 2.5 years old. We are currently weaning her from breastfeeding. She calls it chichi, which is very Mexican slang. And what we did is, we've kind of weaned her down a little bit, and right now she still gets chichi to fall asleep, but then not any other point in the day. And we were cleaning out a bunch of stuff in our house the other day, and we stumbled on these bottles that we bought when she was a newborn. We never gave her formula or anything, but we would freeze some extra breast milk, and I would give it to her in a bottle sometimes, very infrequently. And so we found these bottles the other day, and she immediately fixated on it. She wanted them right away. And she drinks a good amount of milk, just like regular, cow's milk from the store. And so she wanted us to put milk into this bottle so that she could drink milk from a bottle like a baby. And she started going, she's like, "Sita, little baby, Sita need milk." And she would fake cry. And now this all happened around the same time that she also objectively had a really bad stomach ache. She had some stomach issues, so she was kind of crying and uncomfortable for a few days. When that was all going on, she was really latching onto me, looking to me for comfort. And I think that kind of happened right alongside the weaning, where she's realizing not that her mother's not there for her anymore, but she's kind of naturally looking to me even more for comfort as well, just because she can't go to her mother for breast milk the same way that she always used to. And Sita's hilarious. She loves taking care of other babies and animals and everything. So she'll have all of her baby dolls, and if she drops one on the ground, she'll go, "Oh no, it's crying." And she'll fake cry. She'll go "Wah, wah, it's crying, the baby." And then she'll give it a kiss and then give it chichi. She'll pretend to breastfeed the baby, or she'll bring it over to me or her mother, Cordy, to pretend to breastfeed the baby. And so she does this fake crying thing all the time when she's playing with her dolls. And recently, within the last 4 or 5 days, she's been doing this fake crying thing all the time. And at first I thought it was real crying, and maybe it actually was the very first couple days, because it coincided with this stomach ache that she had, where she would periodically get these waves of pain, and she would cry, and she would come over to me. And I think, she kind of recognized that when she does that, Dad drops whatever he's doing and comes right over and gives undivided attention to her. And again, I think this started off legit. She had a really bad stomach ache, and obviously I'm concerned about her, so I would drop whatever I was doing. But then her stomach is better now. She's fine physically. She's fine. But she would continue to do this little cry periodically, and I didn't know that her stomach, how are you supposed to tell that a stomach ache is gone? I don't know what she's feeling, right? So I would just go over and pick her up and comfort her. And we started to kind of suspect that she was hamming it up a little bit. But what really convinced me is that I was up here in the office working yesterday. She spent almost the whole day without me, with our nannies and with Cordy. And she didn't do that fake cry a single time when I wasn't around. And then as soon as I come downstairs, she hits me with it. And we kind of put that together. And then I said to Sita, I was like, "Are you crying because you want me to take you?" And she's like, "Mm-hmm." And she'll do this thing where she'll go, "Sita, little baby," because we keep telling her that she's not a little baby, she's a big girl. And there's this book called Booby Moon. I think that's what it's called. We call it Chichi Moon. It's this whole thing about weaning, and we're actually going to do this ceremony in a couple nights, where on a full moon we're going to get a helium balloon, we're going to attach a light to it, and we've been telling her for the past couple months that she's a big girl now. And the way that it works is the chichi magic has to go back up to the moon once you're a big girl, so that the moon can give the magic back to another mommy who has another baby somewhere else, and the little baby needs the milk, because little babies don't have teeth and they can't use forks, and so they need the breast milk. And she like understands that. I think it's a pretty cool idea actually to make like a little ceremony around this to demarcate the transition. And Sita's so smart, like she remembers everything. So I know that after this, we'll be able to explain, like, don't you remember we gave the chichi magic back up to the moon, so there's no more chichi, and you'll be very sad, but the chichi is gone, and so we can say thank you, chichi, right? All this stuff. Anyway, sometimes in response to that, she will literally say, Sita no have teeth. Sita little baby, no teeth. Right? Because we're making this argument like you're a big girl, you have teeth now, you can eat food. Babies don't have teeth, so they need the breast milk still. And she'll go, Sita little baby, Sita no teeth, when she wants to get breast milk. And so I came down from working the other day, and she started crying, and I had that talk with her. I was like, are you just doing this so that Dada will come take you? And she's like, mm-hmm. And I was like, but you're a big girl. And she's like, no, Sita little baby. And it hit me that all the time, literally all the fucking time, when I'm playing with her and I'm like picking her up and snuggling with her and stuff, I'll say things to her like, you're daddy's little baby, aren't you? Or like, you're daddy's little baby girl. And she'll be like, mm-hmm. And she's like so proud of that. And like, I looked at Cordy and I was just like, fuck, like I did this. Like, this is my fault that she's doing this, because I would always say, you're daddy's little baby girl. So I was like telling her, like, you are my baby. And so now here I am also asking her to be a grown up and be a big girl and not be a baby anymore, when I've literally always told her, like, you are my baby. And so that's why she's saying, like, Sita baby, Sita needs milk, right? And of course, I do other affirmations. I didn't even realize that was an affirmation, because I would also say, like, Sita's so smart, Sita's so brave, Sita's so kind, Sita's so caring, giving, generous, curious, nice, smart, funny, whatever, all these things. Beautiful too, but you'll notice, like, just calling her a pretty girl is like 1 out of 27 different adjectives that we use for her. The point being, I didn't even realize that her whole life, like literally the last 2.5 years, I've probably said that to her at least once a day, if not like 30 times a day. That, like, your daddy's little baby. And it fucking hit me. It was just like so crystal clear. Maybe because I just smoked a little bit of weed actually and worked out. But it was just so crystal clear that, like, I did this. I made her do this fake crying thing to get my attention. It's not like she needs to do that. I give her my undivided attention all the fucking time. But I don't know, I guess clearly there was something special about when she had that stomach ache and she cried and I came to her that really stood out, and she wanted more of that. But, like, I made her think that she is this little baby. And we use affirmations in our microdosing program, because I hold that affirmations are the most powerful tool to change your definition of yourself and your beliefs and views about yourself. Like the story that you tell yourself about yourself and the place in the world, affirmations are the most powerful tool to change that. I have told her this story her whole life, that she is my little baby. And so she gets to cry and pretend that she doesn't have any teeth and still need breast milk or need milk from this little bottle. I don't know. I'm probably not doing a good job of expressing how, like, earth-shattering this was for me to realize that I had done that. And how insidious it was. Because, you know, I try to instill that she's smart and funny and brave and curious and kind and generous and beautiful and all these other positive things. But alongside that, I didn't even realize that I was doing this one thing. There's a story, a little anecdote that I love. It comes from David Foster Wallace gave a speech that Akira the Don turned into a song called What the Hell is Water? And the story is that there's an older fish swimming down the street, because, you know, fish have streets. And he passes by 2 younger fish and he says, "Good morning, boys. How's the water today?" And he swims on by. And the 2 younger fish look at each other and they go, "What the hell is water?" And I love that, because there are things around us that we are so steeped in that we don't even realize are around us and are shaping our entire environment and our entire worldview. And I had no idea that I was doing this to my daughter. And obviously it's not a huge deal, but it just really fucking highlighted how insidious this stuff is, how difficult it can be to realize it, and just how profoundly the messaging that you hear shapes your beliefs about yourself. So I am going to be a lot more careful with how I speak to my daughter, and I would invite you to think about what kinds of messages you have internalized from your parents, from your upbringing, from society, from your work, whatever, that you are telling yourself. Maybe convincing yourself that you're also a little baby with no teeth who still needs breast milk. Probably not. But perhaps convincing yourself that, I don't know, you don't deserve to find happiness deep down, that anything good that happens to you will be followed by something bad, that nothing good comes to you without a struggle, that you will just always be fucked up and you'll never get rid of this anxiety or this depression or whatever other cycles or patterns are defining your life. It's a very foundational thing that we teach inside of our program. There's a lot of nuance to it because honestly, affirmations sound like bullshit off the bat, and most people have had a bad experience of trying to use affirmations because they were never taught the proper way to do it. That's a whole other episode in and of itself. But yeah, reflections from parenting for you. Fucking being a dad's crazy. So I'm really glad that happened because it made me more aware of it. We'll see how our Chichi moon party goes in a couple days when environment, but I'm going to release a helium balloon into the air because the balloon will carry the Chichi magic back up to the moon so that Sita has something to symbolize the departure of her ability to breastfeed. There's some cool lessons in there too around like the significance of ritual and ceremony, but I've already rambled incoherently enough for one podcast. So thank you for listening to my musings. I hope this was valuable. If it wasn't, tell me and I'll fucking stop rambling. But until somebody tells me to stop, I'm going to keep rambling because I actually do hear occasionally from people who enjoy this stuff. So thank you for listening. Until next time, peace out. God bless you.